For over 2 decades, the Dynasty Warriors series has defined the Musou genre, characterized by its legendary 1 vs 1000 battles set against the backdrop of Chinese Three Kingdoms era first, and then headed to Japanese Warring States period. The Dynasty Warriors series has always been a titan of the Musou genre. Large-scale battles, allowing players to defeat hundreds and thousands of enemies in a single swoop with Chinese or Japanese historical figures. However, after 2 decades of releases, the franchise faced stagnation. Even though the Musou genre is one of my favorite genres, even I found myself playing One Piece Pirate Warriors lately and avoiding most of the recent titles. Then, you know what happened? Omega Force delivered Dynasty Warriors Origins as a bold reboot that not only revitalized the franchise with improved gameplay, visuals, and narrative, but also blending their recent titles like Wolong, Fallen Dynasty, and Berserk and the Band of Hawk, and arguably crafted their definitive masterpiece. I love history, I love Three Kingdoms period, and I played more than 45 hours of this peak Musou experience, doing every mission, leveling up my weapons, and diving into a battlefield that throws everything at me. I'm Arcadenaut here, and today we'll explore what makes Dynasty Warriors Origins the peak of the series. From its narrative and gameplay innovations to its stunning portrayal of the Three Kingdoms. At its core, Dynasty Warriors Origins is a reimagining of the franchise. Whether you call it a reboot or not, it is designed to appeal to longtime fans and newcomers to the Musou genre or Three Kingdoms period. That means, before talking about what Dynasty Warriors Origins does better than the previous installments, first we have to talk about the Three Kingdoms period of Chinese history. The Three Kingdoms period between the year 184 and 280 is one of the most renowned chapters in Chinese history. It is marked by the fall of the Han Dynasty and emergence of 3 powerful states, Wei, Shu, and Wu. This era has been immortalized in Luo Ganzhong's epic novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms, and both Wulong Fallen Dynasty and Dynasty Warriors Origins draw heavily from this rich historical backdrop, starting their narratives with one of the era's most iconic events, the Yellow Turban Rebellion. However, this time we take the mantle of a warrior that is known as Guardian of Peace, Zilan. Where Wulong Fallen Dynasty portrays the Yellow Turban Rebellion with demons occupying the land, Dynasty Warriors Origins takes a more grounded approach, focusing on the scale and spectacle of the rebellion. As Zilan initially meets with Guan Yu and joins the volunteer army of Liu Bei, Zilan's neutral stance allows you to explore all factions in depth, whether it be the officers of the Han Dynasty or Cao Cao's initial battles trying to spread his influence across China. Dynasty Warriors Origins offers players a wide, panoramic view of the Three Kingdoms conflict and what kind of a leader each faction's leader really is. Through Zilan's eyes, we witness key historical moments, the growth of these historical figures with each battle we join. One of the most striking achievements of Dynasty Warriors Origins is its ability to convey its narrative through detailed cutscenes, cinematic battles, bonding with other characters, and through letters from soldiers or other characters that we share time with. For example, after a grueling battle, Zilan might receive a letter from an ally who expresses its gratitude for our leadership but also laments the loss of friends and comrades. Or we get to see a new cutscene with the companion we have grown closer with, learning more about their values, their concerns, or what they think or how they feel. Through this narrative alone, Dynasty Warriors Origins feels improved, leaving its so-called bottom-mashing action hack-and-slash genre behind, adapting a more action RPG kind of an approach. While Zilan's journey is deliberately personal, focusing on his lost past, themes of loyalty and the cost of war, Our efforts help to bring China a temporary peace through each chapter. As you get to know about each faction, each key figure of this period, you as the player become one with Zilan. You forge bonds with key figures, maybe find your favorites among this turmoil just like I did, and start to care about these factions. As these interactions are more than just optional content, they also shape the player's understanding of the characters and their motivations. Spending time with Liu Bei might reveal his internal struggle to balance idealism with practicality, while a mission with Xuan Shangsheng could highlight her determination to prove herself in a male-dominated world. All of these characters' interactions, all your efforts will bear their fruits once you read Chapter 3. And find yourself in the middle of three kingdoms, all waiting for you to join their cause. To understand why Dynasty Warriors Origins stands as the pinnacle of the franchise, we must look beyond its gameplay mechanics and visual enhancements. While Dynasty Warriors Origins offers more cinematic battle experience, deeper gameplay with 10 different weapons and gameplay mechanics, it also represents a perfect synthesis of action, narrative, and strategic role-playing, capturing the essence of the Three Kingdoms period while elevating the Musou genre to new heights. Calling it a reinvention wouldn't be exaggeration. I believe starting with Dynasty Warriors Origins, Omega Force will start to deliver better Dynasty and Samurai Warriors experiences in the future. And one of the main reasons for that is the addition of branching narrative system that is introduced in Chapter 3. Right at Chapter 3, Zilan is faced with a pivotal choice, aligning with one of the great factions. Wei under Cao Cao, Shu under Liu Bei, or Wu under Xuan Zhen. This decision fundamentally alters the course of the game, not only shaping the story but also the gameplay experience. These three factions sometimes battle with each other, but mainly they have their own narratives, own issues to tackle, leading to three different experiences. As I mentioned before, at the end of the first two chapters, Zilan, the neutral protagonist, has fought alongside characters from all three factions, forming bonds and gaining insight into their philosophies. Chapter 3 forces players to weigh these experiences and choose their allegiance. And this decision, whether you want to choose your favorite leader, is not a simple choice. Each faction offers compelling reasons to join their cause, and the narrative ensures that players understand the stakes of their choice. Aligning with one faction inevitably means fighting against allies you have come to respect or even befriended before. And here I found myself struggling between choosing Liu Bei and Guan Yu or Xuan Zhen and his family. However, Dynasty Warriors Origins surprised me once again by offering true endings, by altering the fate. If you have played Wulong Fallen Dynasty or have an interest in Three Kingdoms period, you know that Xuan family goes through quite difficult times, and one such event is Xuan Zhen dying in an ambush. Although I initially knew about Xuan Zhen and had been wondering if Dynasty Warriors Origins would allow me to save him from death, I discovered that I could. Through a really tough boss battle that led me to grind a couple of levels doing strategy to save this old man, and eventually altering the fate, leading the first condition to achieve true ending. At that moment, being in awe of these altered timeline possibilities, I decided that Dynasty Warriors Origins is not just a mere Musou experience but trying its best to become its best possible self. For the first time in this series, Dynasty Warriors Origins introduces these true endings, allowing you to alter the fate of key historical figures. These alternate outcomes are not handed to you, obviously. It was my historical knowledge here made me wonder if I could save Xuan Zhen, but Dynasty Warriors also showcases these events during that battle, or when you go back to inn, check the missions that you have accomplished before. For example, saving Swen from his historical death requires you to engage in a challenging boss fight that might seem quite unfair at first. And similarly, both Cao Cao and Liu Bei's campaigns offer opportunities to rewrite history, allowing players to steer the course of the Three Kingdoms conflict towards a more optimistic resolution. Having these two endings proved me that Dynasty Warriors Origins really, and I mean really, focuses on its narrative, trying its best to perfect its Musou formula with expanding, overarching roleplay elements that branch the cutscenes, bonding with different characters, giving you freedom for how you wish to bring peace to China. Combat has always been the heart of Dynasty Warriors, and fundamentally, the Musou genre is still here. You pick a character, find yourself on a battlefield full of enemy soldiers, bases and offices, and then you throw yourself at your enemies, defeating hundreds and thousands of them. This has been the core aspect of Musou genre for years. However, Origins takes it to new heights. This time, Omega Force has refined the Musou formula with mechanics that reward skill and strategy. The days of mindless button mashings are gone. Now every strike, dodge, parry or using your own squad matters. Every choice you make, every officer you save actually matters more than before. Dynasty Warriors Origins features 10 different weapon types, and only one of them is unlocked in New Game Plus. From sword to spear, crescent blade to bladed wheels, these weapons are more distinct than ever. With their own combos, their own special moves, their own unique rhythm and depth that never makes the gameplay dull. Although it may seem like the gameplay becomes repetitive after a while, the battlefields you find yourself in, charging together with the officers of your faction, keep the whole dynamic fresh and engaging. Not only that, but advanced combos, pairing mechanics and the ability to stagger enemy officers make every duel feel dynamic and rewarding. If you just find the gameplay repetitive or too easy, my advice would be to increase the difficulty, where your every choice in the battlefield starts to matter even more and the parry window becomes thicker, turning the whole gameplay experience into a more Wulong Fallen Dynasty-like one. On the other hand, enemy AI is also polished and improved further to increase the challenge. Regular soldiers now rally for unit-wide attacks like arrow volleys and charges, while the enemy officers demand careful timing and counterplay. Although you can demolish the AI through over-leveling and of course having stronger weapons, enemy officers here forming their own strategies or trying to increase their morale through special orders keeps the challenge fresh and exciting. So that means, although Dynasty Warriors Origins retains the series' iconic 1 vs 1000 design philosophy, newly introduced gameplay mechanics such as parrying, squad management or specific orders keep the whole experience fresh. Not only that, but in Origins, not all but some of the officers would like to duel you, one-on-one, just like the ones you would experience in Total War Three Kingdoms. These duels are elevated to mini-boss encounters that test the player's skill and timing, emphasizing defensive maneuvers such as parrying and dodging, and requiring players to exploit openings. I only lost one duel throughout my 48-hour-long Xuan campaign, and that was while I was trying to improve the proficiency of my sword. Besides that, the duels are fun, bringing a different pace to the whole 1 vs 1000 gameplay concept, but I do believe Omega Force would continue to improve these new mechanics and expand the Musou genre into greater heights. Another aspect that sets Origins apart is how it transforms every battlefield into a stage for cinematic storytelling, strategic depth, and visceral combat. The atmosphere of the battlefields are gritty, sometimes dynamic, evolving the impact of the events that draws players into the hearts of the Three Kingdoms conflict. To be honest, Omega Force has always been known for its ability to create epic battlefields filled with thousands of soldiers, but Origins take this to a new level. Every skirmish, every siege, or rather it be a full-scale war, they all feel more impactful and more meaningful. If you played Wulong Fallen Dynasty, you might even remember some of the battlefield designs, but if you don't, you might even feel interested in playing that too. Battlefields are unique and reflecting the historical and narrative context if you also care about the accuracy, and these small yet big details make Dynasty Warriors Origins the new peak of the genre. It transcends its Musou roots, combining emotionally charged storytelling, branching narratives, and refined gameplay mechanics into one cohesive experience. Especially if you're interested in Chinese history or enjoyed Wulong Fallen Dynasty. Dynasty Warriors Origins might be your entry to the Musou genre. Dynasty Warriors Origins is not just a reboot, it's a reinvention of the franchise that takes the Musou genre to its peak. All of these new and improved aspects deliver an experience that balances the chaos and the so-called simplicity of 1 versus 1000 battles with a deeply personal and strategic approach. Whether saving the historical figures from their fates, forging bonds with these figures, or shaping the Three Kingdoms conflict in your preferred way, Dynasty Warriors Origins is the first must-play title of 2025. Omega Force has crafted a love letter to both longtime fans and newcomers, proving that, even after 2 decades, the Dynasty Warriors franchise can still surprise and inspire. If this is the direction for future entries, the Musou genre's best days are yet to come. As always, thank you for watching today's video. Which Musou experience would you like me to play next? Any humble support through Patreon and YouTube join is really appreciated, and I will see you soon in my next video.